I'm the Senior Vice President at Cadent. Cadent is the largest independent advanced TV platform out there. I run the West Coast office and the sports strategy. So I thought we'd start today by you guys just giving your background and maybe just share one of your favorite things you've done this summer, just to have a little fun. Amina, you want to start?
So hi everyone, I'm Amina, Pasha. I'm the CMO at Thrive Market. I've been there about 3 years, and my favorite thing this summer was a challenge my son gave to me. He asked me, where can we go where I can go on a train, on a plane, on a boat, on a subway, and a taxi? Guess where we went? New York City. And it was the best trip we've taken because I've lived in New York, but I had not been back with a child, and so we saw New York through the lens of children, and it was just an incredible experience. I'd never actually even been to the Statue of Liberty, and when we took the boat out there, I told my son, we're definitely not getting off this boat. This is the last boat. We're going to miss the boat. And of course, he was like, nope, we're getting off to this island. And so it was just a really special time for our family and a really great trip.
Awesome. I'm Jason. I lead U.S. marketing and global media and digital at Mattel. I would say, what was my best summer experience? I went this summer and rented a boat with a couple of my friends from college and went around the islands in Split, Croatia, which was pretty awesome. And then I would say from a business standpoint, I got to go to the Barbie premiere, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you've had a busy summer.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie Welch. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez. I joined in 2019 to help Selena bring her vision to life. And this summer, I will embarrassingly tell this entire room of people that I picked up pickleball. And I will admit to it, it's fun. It's really fun, and I am not an athlete. And even non-athletes can play
That's so
pickleball.
funny. I did too. But it's so fun because it's social, right? And just a little bit of exercise, not too much. But okay, that's great.
I was winded.
Okay, why don't we jump right in, all right? Let's start with, how does your brand create impactful tentpole moments? Who would like to start? Amina? We'll go right down the line.
All right. I mean, compared to Barbie, I was like, really? I thought you'd go first here.
I think we all kind of want to hear about that.
Suspense on that one.
Suspense on that one. And I have a question for you, too. Sure. So for us, Thrive Market, firstly, we're an online e-commerce grocery store that makes, healthy and sustainable living easy, affordable, and accessible. And when we think about tentpole campaigns, being in the healthy business, it's very, very seasonal. So there are two key aspects that are really, really important for us. The first one is Q1 is huge. So how many of you are in the healthy space business? Raise your hand. You know how important Q1 is. And because of that, I don't think it's on, actually. Hang on. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So because we're in the healthy space and it's so seasonal, we really take Q1 very, very seriously. It's our biggest tentpole campaign of the year because of New Year, Healthy You, and the importance of being healthy. And so one of the things I wanted to share is the internal cultural mechanism that we use to make sure our Q1 and quarter goes really, really strong. And we call it Q5. And it's become an area that's so predominant that often when we're talking to partners, we don't even explain what Q5 is. And Q5 is basically a simple concept of how much intensity goes into the planning and rigor from the marketing standpoint to really make sure our Q1 is successful, really looking at everything we've learned, particularly in Q3 and Q4, to make sure that all of our tests have been placed, that we've learned everything, and we're ready to scale, particularly in those 6 weeks, even prior to Q1 hitting. We spend the bulk of our media, and every year we just get better with that operational discipline of approaching it with that internal cultural mechanism that we call Q5. The other one is sometimes you have to create your own cultural mechanism. So just like January and Q1 are very, very strong for us as a business, guess which months are the worst for a healthy business? That's online and e-commerce. Right now, summertime, people are out watching movies like Barbie, or they're traveling, or they're busy, and they usually turn off, their subscription, and we see quite a slump during the summertime. So the challenge we had this year was, how do we grow as strong as we have done in Q1 in the summertime? And it was a big challenge we put out to the team, and we really went and spoke to a lot of customers and got a lot of data back to really understand why in summer we weren't connecting, and how do we flip that switch. And so the second Tentpole campaign that came out of it was this insight that actually people still want to be healthy, and parents in particular who don't get to travel and who are a big customer of ours are looking for healthy summer snacks, yet don't even know where to get those, what to buy. And that led to a huge summer campaign that we call Thriving Outside, where you can take your Thrive Box with you and you can get what you need, but here are some examples. And we had really powerful insights from our marketing team, like, did you know your kid consumes 53 pounds of sugar in a year? I did not even know that as a CMO, and I was stalled. And then, sharing some of the brand examples that our portfolio carries or our brand carries that you can get, whether it's Smart Sweets or Lesser Evil or all of those goodies that you used to see in the grocery aisle growing up, but now have healthier versions that you just don't know about. So that became our actually more successful Tentpole campaign in the summer. We're actually just closed July at 81% growth versus year ago on our membership. So we're bringing in more members than we ever have. It's been our historic ever best month. And it's been amazing because the challenge was very, very difficult. And we knew we would not have been able to do this if we didn't approach it from that customer mindset and get deeply obsessed. So those are two examples of how we create some of our Tentpole campaigns.
Awesome. So for Mattel, in our category in RIP, it's interesting because we have products, but they're also kind of entertainment properties, right? So we actually have an actual definition internally for what a Tentpole was. And I should preface this was before the Barbie movie, right? So we're gonna have to redefine everything after the Barbie movie. But for us, it really meant like we would come up with a narrative hook, and then a narrative hook that would allow us, frankly, to go to, Walmart, Target, Amazon, our biggest customers, and come up with a big out-of-aisle program. And then we would kind of take that narrative hook and we would pull it through everything that we do. So all of our social content, all of our long-form narrative content, all of our short-form narrative content, and usually try to also come up with a unique angle that each of the retailers can own so we could have a really big event in that regard. So that's kind of how we think of Tentpoles internally. In terms of the context that this is asked, it's kind of the same thing. It's like coming up with the narrative hook, and then how do we execute that narrative hook through kind of all of our consumer touch points.
We do a similar approach. All of our Tentpoles really are based around our product launches. When you're a big beauty brand, that your innovation is your news. So we are in globally in around over 30 markets around the world in Sephora stores. And so when we want to tap our community to launch a product, we have to make sure that that messaging is consistent across every consumer touch point. We've grown in the last 3 years our social channels to over 10 million people. So it's important to fuel them. I think, was it DC who said that the celebrity is the fuel? The wind, not the foundation. So, I mean, because how many people say, oh, well, Selena Gomez is your founder. It just takes Selena Gomez to post one of the products that she's developed. And yes, that's so important. But we also have to activate our entire community around the world with every Tentpole product activation. So that's usually 4 times a year. And then in addition to that, our other Tentpoles are driven to tie back to our purpose, which is mental health. So we always do a lot around May, which is Mental Health Month, or October 10th, which is World Mental Health Day.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk Barbie, right? When we were on a prep call, you mentioned about the Mattel's playbook. Mm-hmm. How did that shape Barbie's incredible success?
Yeah, so we've been working against the playbook for a number of years now, and I think that fed into Barbie a little bit. So there's 4 components to it. It's brand purpose, which we've all talked about, right? What I think is really interesting about Mattel's brand, so Mattel's 3 biggest brands are obviously Barbie, and then Hot Wheels, and then Fisher-Price, right? And you mentioned something that was really resonant with me in terms of like kind of your origin story, your place. All of those brands have really cool origin stories, their founder stories. And Barbie, like a lot of you saw in the movie, was invented by the female co-founder of Mattel who ran design. 10 years later, and we told a great origin story about Hot Wheels that helped us reposition that brand and propel Hot Wheels. Her husband, who ran, Ruth ran marketing, her husband ran design. He came up with Hot Wheels, and there's a great story there I can't get into, right? But so we have really strong brand purpose, and the brand purpose behind Barbie is to inspire the limitless potential in every girl, right? So you combine that, and then we say design-led innovation. Toys is a really SKU-intensive business. We invent over 3,000 new SKUs every single year across our brands, right? In Hot Wheels alone, over 1,000 brand new cars every single year, all of those brand new, right? And then we call it cultural relevance, which is how we bring to bear all of those different capabilities that we have across social and narrative content, and then operational excellence, because when you have that many SKUs, you have to have operational excellence to pull it all together. And it's quite the endeavor to figure out how to align all of that marketing activity with your product. But then when that translates to Barbie, I mean, listen, Barbie's a phenomenon, obviously, right? It's going to be the biggest movie of the year. It's going to be the biggest movie in the history of Warner Brothers. It's going to be the biggest movie ever helmed by a female director. But what I think really worked for Barbie was the play of that brand purpose, right? And the whole movie was about kind of a cultural conversation about that brand purpose and what does that really mean and what does it mean to modern women. And that was something that we were doing for many years before then. So I think that all came together for the movie. And then, of course, we did everything we could around that in terms of brand partnerships, both with us and from Warner Brothers and from everything else we do from a digital marketing standpoint. Like I was just texting with my team, we vetted over 7,000 influencers just for the Barbie movie that the team went through in conjunction and make sure that those influencers were going to align with our brand purpose.
Well, congratulations on that one. Huge success there. Amina, when we spoke, you emphasized the importance of purpose when it comes to Thrive Market. And you mentioned mission tentpoles. How would you define mission tentpoles? What do you do with it?
Yeah, I mean, so for us, our brand is our mission, and our mission is our brand. And our mission is really about making healthy and sustainable living easy, affordable, and accessible. And so year round, we're looking to, find opportunities of how we do that. One of the biggest, most important lessons we've had in mission is really putting a stake in the ground, really being clear with what your goals and metrics are, and even defining milestones. So during the pandemic, we quickly saw how food equality had gotten exacerbated, and we decided that we had to put our mouth where our money was, and we put a stake in the ground to raise $10 million in healthy groceries and stipends by 2025. And what really struck me was as soon as we did that, our founder and CEO, Nick Green, donated the rest of his salary for the year towards that goal. So showing how serious he was. And thereafter, all of our Thrivers who are employees also donated, and the company agreed to match all of their donations. And we started, creating a movement with our members. They started seeing us because we were playing back this story to them, starting first with what actions we did as a brand, and then involving them in their member donations as well. And I'm really pleased to say that, we put pretty lofty goals. And I remember asking the team, are you sure we're going to get to this goal now that we've committed? And they said, yes, we will do it. We will do everything we can. And as of April 2023, 2 years ahead of our goal, we already hit 10 million. And guess what the next question was? What's the next goal? So we're now going to raise 20 million. So the point with mission-driven brands is your work is really never done. You can set the metrics and the milestones. You can take out the barriers for the team. You can be a catalyst to drive that movement, but you have to keep pushing forward. There have been times when we've struggled. We really wanted to be the world's first, climate positive grocery store as well. How do you do that? That is not an easy task. It's very easy to say, very, very hard to do. And when we looked across, every function, how we're operationally set up, we were actually doing a lot of the groundwork, but not getting any of the credit with our members, with our audiences. And so it was, how do we build a plan where we get the credit too? And so for context, we were, zero waste in our fulfillment centers from day one. We were carbon neutral from day one. We don't ship onesies and twosies. We really think about not just what we're offering, but how we're offering it. And yet no one knew about it. And partly was because we had not gone the extra mile to actually get certified. We were truly an underdog doing the hard work without getting the credit. So the past 3 years, we have really put, our literally put our stake in the ground. We got B Corp certified in 2020. We got all of our fulfillment centers zero waste certified last year. We got climate neutral certifications this year, and our work's still not done. We even went as far as becoming a public benefit corporation, and we continue to push ourselves on how can we set the standards, not just for ourselves, but for the industry. And the key part with that is because we have over 300 brands, we bring them along the journey. We share what we're doing, and we learn from them too. And sometimes some of the smaller brands are doing amazing works on sustainability and mission. And without that cross-sharing, we really can't impact the industry as a whole. And so those are some ways that we're building, those mission tentpoles and those campaigns to drive a bigger action than just one brand can do.
It's great. All right, Katie, your brand is probably one of the most amazing stories I've heard in a long time.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Right? So can you share how you launched in COVID in 2020 with Selena Gomez literally doing videos for social media on her kitchen table to becoming a global brand in 3 years?
Yes. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've been busy. So Selena called. I joined the team in 2019, and we needed to launch a brand. In 2019, I thought it was going to be fine and normal, and yes, it would be daunting to launch a brand with Selena. We don't have a parent company. It's not part of a house of brands. She didn't slap her name on something. It's Selena's company, period. That's the way it is. She started by hiring senior leaders. We're all senior marketing leaders, and this team. Have you started a company, a brand from scratch? Have you? Nope. No, you haven't. I bet maybe. If you have, call me. We might have openings. But so we needed to. So I knew what we needed to do. Think about everything you need to launch at Sephora.com, to launch on your own website, all of the assets, all of the social media, every single thing, every word, every letter, every photo, every product, every model shot. You launch a foundation with 48 shades. You need photos of every individual wearing that foundation. There's a lot that goes into it. We launched with 150 SKUs. Fine. In August of 2019, when I joined, I thought we can write the mission, vision, values. We can have a purpose around mental health. We can do all of the beauty stuff. The beauty stuff, I've done that my whole career. That's easy. Then COVID hits, and you know what happens. And so everything that we had planned got canceled. And next thing you know, we're looking at our team around our individual kitchen tables, Selena herself in her bedroom on Zoom on her iPad. What are we going to do? And Sephora every week would say to me, Katie, where are the assets? We're still planning on launching. And I said, I can't get 48 people in a room to shoot them. I don't know what to do. And this went on. Grace can testify, who's my rising star, because I think it was maybe her idea, who she said, we're just going to do it virtually. And so we sent out a primer and a foundation and a concealer. I know these words have probably never been said in the Rams locker room before, but alas, here we are. So we sent them all out, and we did a virtual photo shoot. But I mean, what does that mean? That means it was an iPhone. But what was cool, back to what we said earlier in someone's panel, the importance of authenticity. So there was no professional photographer, there was no makeup artist, there was no real lighting. It was really, truly, this is what the product is going to look like on your skin. So what a great asset to have to launch a brand and to launch a product. So we did that 100 times over, and then we needed to do Facebook ads and Instagram ads, and Selena just duct tape her phone to her bathroom mirror. And she shot some. And so when we launched in September of 2020, we launched like a real beautiful prestige beauty brand at Sephora. It's just the backstory of how we got there was a little hairy, but we did it, and it was great. And then since then, we've launched in all of these markets. We just we're over 30, Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia. What am I missing? We just launched in India in June, for reference. So it's been a lot of fun. We're busy, but it's good.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We have, what did we just say? 7.6 billion views on TikTok for #RareBeauty. So I think the thing is, we sit up in these panels and we tell everyone what we've done, but what is the takeaway? Is that the takeaway is you can sometimes just be agile and do it and figure out a way to tell your story. And we did that. And so we did that during COVID because we had to figure it out. But those lessons that we were able to take away is what we took away and how we were able to then grow our social. We got to know our community. We did Zoom calls with our community to try and get to know them. So even today we posted on our Instagram stories about a Zoom call with our community. So we didn't drop all of that agility, which is a great corporate word. We didn't drop that agility. We still use it, and we still are really close to our community, like that we grew when we started when we were in COVID. So I think just not being afraid to tell your story in the way that you want to, and in a real authentic way. That's what Gen Z wants to hear. So you don't have to be that polished, even as a beauty brand at Sephora.
Well, congratulations
Thanks.
on that. Okay, this question is for all of you guys. Jason, why don't we start with you? You know, everyone talks about proof of performance, right? How do you measure your tentpole success?
Yeah, so an interesting thing for us is, we have a growing, thriving D2C business, but I would say more than 95% of our sales happens at retailers, so we don't have conversion data, right? So then that means that we have to come up with lots of kind of proxy metrics to measure whether or not we think our tentpole campaigns are performing. So, we definitely rely on the an MMM that we do, and that's obviously backwards looking. And I think beyond that, it's really about trying to pick really smart kind of proxy metrics that you have to have confidence in that, if people are, if I'm increasing the average watch time on my YouTube content, if I'm increasing my completion rates and things like that, just kind of assuming that if people are engaging with my content more, that's going to lead to more persuasion, that's going to lead to more POS. And then, of course, we do as much as we can in measuring our POS, really focused on incrementality. So, very seasonal business, lots of SKUs, but we set up lots of models to really try to measure if we're making an incremental impact over, what we could expect from our prior comps. And you kind of put all those things together, and that's how you measure whether tentpole is impactful for us.
Great. Amina?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the tentpole itself, what the objectives you lay out. We've gotten much better, at really defining not just what the output metrics are, but what the input metrics are. And by that, I mean, what are the metrics you can actually influence and control versus what are the ones that are just going to be an output of that, like your brand equity, et cetera. And I think that has really helped the team, really decipher, because we're 100% e-commerce, where can they actually move the needle? The other one, which I think came up earlier today, has been one that we've really been honing in on about, is customer obsession and customer quality. We call it member quality. And what are the metrics, early indicators, even before you get to LTV, that tell you you're on the right path to really getting that lifetime value customer. And so we look at things as soon as, we bring in a member, what is that first order experience like? How did they get this box? How was the unboxing experience? What was the CSAT score on that? Would they recommend and tell a friend just based on that one order experience? And we follow that through their lifetime journey, because we really believe the customer is at the end going to tell us whether this is, a partnership they want for the long run, starting from that first moment, of truth that they have with us. And so for us, it's been, so important to get those customer qualities right that we've now created a cross-functional squad and team where it's not just member services or customer service looking at it. Every single function needs to own that and look at it, whether they're on the ops side, whether they're in merchandising or marketing. And that cross-functional team is looking at all of those customer metrics and seeing how the impact of this tentpole event is driving your overall customer obsession in the long run.
Katie?
Measurement? Is it selling? I know that sounds terrible, but we're still a startup. I care about, is the team coming back tomorrow? Are they happy? Is Sephora returning our calls? Have the products sold? Great, keep it going. That's the honest to God truth.
Okay, we have time for one more question here. Let's go with this. How do you build trust and loyalty among your customers? Who would like to start?
I can take it. I mean, trust is a big one for us. So if you think about the online healthy grocery store, actually trust is the #1 category driver for us. It's been so important that actually our brand persona is to be the trusted partner, and it's the vernacular that we use in meetings. It's like our internal cultural mechanism that we use to remind each other, are we building trust with our customer? There are 3 ways that we look at building trust. The first goes back to, clearly, I'm going to be a broken record. If authenticity was one word used, I'm going to be talking about customer obsession. But are we really obsessed and in really delighting and pleasing our customer? And have we built truly a world-class customer experience? And, even with a high CSAT score, 94, 95%, we've never been fully satisfied as a leadership team. And that's where a lot of the work goes on, fundamentally building the best experience we can and constantly getting survey and data back from members on things. How was their experience? How did this launch go? Did they like this product? Did they not like this product? So that we're completely in touch with them. The other thing is, I mean, we are really setting the standards for quality in our industry. And if we're going to go out and say we have the highest and best quality, a large part of trust is committing and delivering, right? How do you deliver best quality? What are the proof points? And so really being articulate, again, about what those quality standards are, whether it's, 300, ingredients we'll never put in food and beverage, or whether it's for every 100 brands that actually approaches us, because we are a retailer, that we'll only accept 10, but we'll also educate the other 90 on why they didn't make the cut so that we up level and they can come back and reapply. We have a lot of work to do, not just, educating our members, but like also the industry on how we're going to raise the quality bar. Those are all aspects of how you build trust. It's not just what you say, but what you do, and making sure that those marry up. And lastly, we're a mission-driven brand. And so for us, trust is fundamental if you're driving your mission and your purpose. So much so that we tell our members and bring them along the journey, and also tell them when we screw up and say, like, we apologize, we messed up here, this was unacceptable. And it's okay to say sorry if you're communicating and giving them a reason and a reassurance that it won't happen again. So we're only an 8-year company, so a few years ahead of you, but we feel like it's important to have that communication. And it's just like a relationship. If you build that trust and you hear the feedback, you're going to be that trusted partner in the long run, and you use it as your key way of making decisions as a business, you will be doing the right thing for the member as a whole.
So for us, if you think of a lot of our brands, we have 3 layers of targets, right? So you have the shoppers who are buying the products, who are in many instances the parents, but not always, right? We all give gifts that aren't our own kids. You have the kids themselves, and then also for our brands, you have collectors or adult enthusiasts. So similar to how measurement isn't your priority to startup, I would say we don't really talk in terms of loyalty with 3 to 5-year-old kids, because that's not exactly how it works. But I think, and if you've never done a focus group with kids that age, I highly encourage it. It's phenomenally entertaining. But I would say though, what that means for us though, if you think what is loyalty for a kid who's an end consumer for a toy, it's, are they buying more of it, right? Are you giving them a play experience where they want to continue to add to that play experience, right? So for us, we're really thinking about how can we make this system of play more fun, right? Like getting, the Barbie dream house to go with your Barbie dolls, getting more Hot Wheels cars to go with your track sets, and designing it so that the play is more fun. We've had to really focus more and more on product quality, obviously, because like reviews are crucial for toys. And then I think for parents, where we really get that loyalty is talking about that brand purpose, right? And we had a lot of work to do with Barbie. You probably all know that story leading up to the movie, where we recognized that Barbie had kind of lost touch with her own origin story and contributing positively for little girls. And we did a lot of that work with brand campaigns. But also I think what's really important for us, particularly knowing that, people are looking at most of our products for kids, is we have to behave like we say, right? So it means like if we're saying, for Barbie, we really had the product line had to reflect our values, and we had to change how we design the dolls and, diversity and body types and all those things. And the proof is in the pudding. So for us, we put the proof into the pudding, the marketing needs to match that, and then we kind of track that over time.
Great.
This is actually really, really important to Rare Beauty, and I think it's one of the things that has made us stand apart from the other beauty brands. We've really gotten to know our community. They're not just fans and followers. We know the people behind the posts. We know and whether that's through in-person events that we've done, virtual events, and we've really listened and gotten to know them. They DM us all the time directly. But through that, we've built the trust. And so we heard from them when we did start talking about mental health, and we said that this is part of why Selena wants to do this brand. She wants it to be so much more than just a beauty brand. She wanted to use her platform to break down these beauty standards and to help destigmatize around mental health. So many people that we heard from in our community said, but we don't know where to turn. And we're a beauty brand. We sell lipsticks. It's not our responsibility. Like, it would be irresponsible of us, in fact, to start talking about mental health or in a way where we had some sort of authority. So we created the Rare Beauty Mental Health Council, comprised of about 15 individuals in mental health, in nonprofit, in the medical field and academia, all of whom help advise us on our strategy, and we co-create content around mental health. So when they do see something, they don't know what depression is or anxiety is, that it is a co-created piece of content that's from a trusted source. And some of those pieces of content get saved just as much as a makeup tutorial. So because of that, so that's one side, that's sort of the heart. And then the humor, we're hysterical on TikTok. I don't know if you follow Rare Beauty on TikTok, but we're in the comments, we're doing crazy stuff, we're putting googly eyes on blushes. And so we've bonded with their hearts and we've bonded with in laughs and sort of these inside jokes. And because of that, I showed you yesterday, I have a mailbag, I call it the Rare Beauty mailbag, about this big. I don't know, it's big, I mean, I can lift it and I'm a weenie, but like, it's not that big, I guess, but it's pretty big. And we get invites to birthdays, to graduations, to weddings. I've never seen anything like it. This is not my first marketing job. So I think we've done that trusting. We've gotten that trust in their hearts. So it's been really special and really fun to see.
Awesome. Well, thank you to the panel, and I wish you all continued success.
Thank you. And thank you, Brand Innovators.